Some kinds of power are not meant to set you free. They are meant to reveal who you truly are. If you could control everything, people, fate, even nature, would you still be able to control yourself? Or would you become a version of yourself have you never dared to face? They say the most dangerous moment in a person's life is not when they have no power, but when nothing stands in their way. And the real question is, if there were no limits, what would be the first thing to awaken inside you? Long before this question had a name, before it became something we could even recognize, there was a force that never had to ask it, a power that did not wait, did not hesitate, and never needed permission to become what it was. The sea did not calm him, it obeyed him. Storms were not accidents, they were decisions, and those who crossed his path learned something most of us never will. What happens when nothing in this world can say no to you? His name was Poseidon. Before the sea had a master, it was chaos. Waves rose without warning, currents moved without direction, and the world above it feared what it could not understand. But everything changed when the gods divided the universe. The sky went to Zeus, the underworld to Hades, and the sea, the most restless, untamed force of all, fell into the hands of one being, Poseidon. He did not inherit peace. He inherited something that refused to be controlled, and yet he did not try to calm it. He became it. The oceans did not resist him. They mirrored him. When he was still, the waters softened. But when something inside him shifted, even slightly, the sea began to tremble. Ships vanished without a trace. Coasts were swallowed overnight. And those who survived spoke of something deeper than storms. They spoke of a will, because the waves were no longer just water, they were decisions. And Poseidon never needed a reason to make them. But power like that doesn't just shape the world around you. It begins to shape something else, something quieter, something deeper, something that doesn't appear until it's too late to control it. And the sea was only the beginning. Power is easy when no one challenges it, but the moment it is questioned, something else begins to surface. There was a city, new, untouched, waiting to be claimed, and two gods stepped forward. One offered wisdom, the other offered power. Take a moment, think about it. Don't you feel like this story is already unfolding in our world right now? Poseidon did not speak in promises. He struck the ground with his trident, and the earth answered. A force burst upward, wild, unstoppable, a gift that carried the weight of the sea itself. It was not meant to comfort. It was meant to dominate, but the city chose differently. They chose Athena, not the storm, but the mind. And in that moment, something shifted, not in the sea, in him. Because rejection does something to power that nothing else can. It turns it inward. What was once control begins to feel like insult. What was once strength starts to demand recognition. And the deeper that feeling goes, the less it needs a reason. The sea began to change, not violently, but intentionally. Storms came without warning, not as chaos, but as answers. And those who lived near the water started to understand something unsettling. This was no longer about the sea. This was about something that refused to be denied. Because when a god like Poseidon is not chosen, he doesn't just lose, he remembers. And what comes after that is never just anger. There is a point where power stops reacting and starts choosing. For Poseidon, that point had already passed. The sea was no longer a reflection of his mood. It had become a weapon of his will. And then he chose a target, a man, not a king, not a god, just a man who made one mistake. He thought he could escape the sea. Odysseus. He had survived war, outsmarted monsters, defied fate itself, but he forgot one thing. You don't outmaneuver what you cannot control. And Poseidon was not something you could outthink. The first storm came without warning. not to kill him, but to show him. Waves rose like walls, the sky collapsed into darkness, and the sea closed in around him. But that wasn't the end, because this wasn't punishment, this was persistence. Every island he reached, taken from him, every hope he held, drowned slowly. Years passed, not in peace, but in repetition, because Poseidon didn't want him dead. He wanted him to feel something worse, powerlessness. And that is where the truth reveals itself, not when you destroy someone, but when you make them realize they were never in control to begin with. And the longer it continued, the less it became about Odysseus, and the more it became about something else. Something that doesn't need victory, something that doesn't need closure, something that only needs to prove one thing, that it can. And once that awakens, it doesn't stop. It doesn't need a reason. It only needs a moment. And by the time you recognize it, it's already too late. And this is where the story ends. But this is exactly where our story begins. Because Poseidon is not just a god of the sea. He is what happens when power is no longer questioned, when control goes unchallenged, when nothing and no one can say no. At first, it feels like strength, the ability to decide, to shape outcomes, to move things in your direction. But slowly, something shifts, not around you, inside you. Because the more control you have, the less resistance you face. And the less resistance you face, the less you are forced to see yourself. Until one day, you're no longer choosing. You're reacting, not to the world, but to something deeper. Something that doesn't want balance, something that doesn't want peace, something that only wants to assert itself. And just like the sea, it doesn't need a reason. It only needs a moment of anger, a moment of silence, a moment where no one pushes back. And that's when it happens. Not loudly, but inevitably. You don't lose control. You realize you never had it. And the most dangerous part is, by the time you see it, it already knows exactly what it's capable of. Some people would call this power strength. Others would call it something else. So here's the question. When nothing in your world pushes back, when no one challenges you, when every decision bends in your favor, what do you think you're becoming? And more importantly, would you even notice when it's no longer you? Because maybe the real difference between people is not in what they face, but in the moment they are no longer resisted, and what they choose to do with that silence.